Welcome back to the most professional StarCraft 2 with the reigning world champion, the Terran in the blue, the Frenchman from Team Liquid. It's Clem. Facing off against Cyril's greatest stunt double, the Zerg in the red, we have Solar. A best of 3 Terran versus Zerg showdown between Clem's unstoppable Terran and Solar's immovable Zerg. A matchup so high level that you'll be wondering why you haven't yet smashed that like button. And maybe even subscribe. Help me counter the algorithm. And Jimmy, what are we at? 1,578 likes on this video, on this cast, and I'll cast another one. And I'll probably do it anyways, because I don't know what else I'd do with my life. But thank you for watching. Hopefully, you've had a good day so far, and hopefully it's about to get just a little bit better than these drones, and maybe Zerglings, and maybe eventually Queens, but surprisingly far off here on Persephone. A map from the new Team Liquid map contest may make it into the pool, and right now, despite the fact the pool was finished, the Zergling's gonna be taken out. That's 1, that's 2, and oh baby, it's a triple to start things off. Clem making a lot of use of that first Reaper, even more than usual, getting some actual kills, and the Queen actually has to come up from the natural and tend to her neighbor's yard, which is annoying at best. Well, no, at best, that was right. The Reaper driven back, 3 Zergling kills, no creep tumor to start. Queen now finds an opportunity, but Clem, oh, it's right around the corner there, but poking in, spots the creep tumor, but it's already a bit late. He's gonna go for it anyways. It's just a couple seconds too late, and Solar will be able to get away with it for now. And now what do we have back at home? The 3 command centers. This map, larger than your average, and also a close air distance, which means medevacs are going to be even more of a threat early on. Mutas may have a slightly higher chance of being effective, and it generally means that players will expand. Oh, there's a healing shrine. Yes, the healing shrine, and the speed highway with bubulas over, wulas, sorry, the fast ones, but it doesn't matter. Either way, speed not done. And that means the Hellions are able to get in, get 4 drone kills while the Reaper was distracting some in the main, but eventually the first 2 Hellions will be taken out. Solar went for a quick third, which means he delayed speed just a bit, and that delay cost him a few drones, but he does get the third base a little quicker. Oncologist Clem comes back around for another pass on the creep tumors. We'll slice away one more, and behind this, it's going to be a 3-2-1-1 from Clem. Going straight into the double medevac play behind a handful of Hellions, assuming you can fit 4 to 6 Hellions in your hand. Just big hands. I don't... Starport going to be finishing up. And Solar, well known, he's the Rocky Zerg, because almost every game he's going to get hit. Over and over and over again. But he rolls with the punches, and while he doesn't always come out on top, he makes it look dramatic. I'd say even more so than Cyril. Cyril has this kind of decisive perfection about him that literally makes other Zergs feel shame. But Solar, on the other hand, is a brawler. A similar style of that macro, upgrade heavy, just full 200 supply Zerg. But he'll get a little dirty about it. And who doesn't enjoy that? So, Carapace upgrade is on the way. In fact, Solar's going to have the upgrade advantage. Clem doesn't even have... Oh, he does have 2 engineering bases. He starts it now after landing the 3rd base in the sheer distance. So there's a healing shrine, which a new mechanic... Well, not that new. We just haven't added any maps to the pool, but I digress. That will heal some of the units nearby. It looks like it has an air blocker, so air units can't be healed. But ground units can if they stand on the healing shrine. So we will see if that comes into play. Now, Terrans usually have healing shrines that also boost across the map at faster speed than anything but Mutalisks, as well as can pick up 8 Marines at a time and drop them. So they're not quite as keen to use it. But things like maybe Ultralisks? I would say Queens, but I don't think we're going to get Queens. The key part is it's such a vulnerable location and so far off the beaten path here. But we'll see how much of a path Solar is able to create and how much Clem can cut it down as the creep continues to spread. But Clem uses a scan and will slice out another half dozen tumors and make his way towards the third. Clearly not intending on getting critical damage done here, but it's Clem. He's got Marines. He's got dudes with drugs and guns. And now the speed zone works both ways. The Stim Marine sprinting at maximum speed. Oh my... Jesus. You know, Queens might even be... The thing is, it affects both. So the speed zones... Wait, 7 drones killed. Was that just the Marines? I believe so. Oh, well, I guess they got gunned down on the speed highway. It increases speed by about, I want to say 35%. It's either 1/3 or 40%. So, somewhere in that range. It does not increase attack speed, though increasing movement speed is effectively attack speed for melee units like Lings. Attack speed kind of irrelevant for Banelings for obvious reasons. Wow, he's already got 8 racks done. Solar has 77 drones, though. Clem gonna be putting on the pressure. Drops down to the left side, right underneath the main. Trying to close in with the Banes. Targets the base, and he gets out. Just a couple Marines going down, but they'll expect some of us in the wreckage, brother. Hydras are on the way, but Clem keeping the pressure on. Another attack coming into the bottom right corner. The double drop, gonna target down some Banes. Banes without speed are also known as target practice for the Frenchmen. So, Clem now up 15 supply, but he's only got 3 bases against 4 in Solar. Again, rolling with the punches. He's kept the creep spread at a decent level, at least half a screen or more outside his base. Makes it a little easier. Baneling speed is about to complete. His 2-2 upgrades actually have a 30-second advantage. So Solar is expanding aggressively in order to give a target to Clem to make sure he can't go for his core bases. As long as he can maintain 4 bases of mining, he has that advantage. And he might be able to use the upgrades. But here come the Lings and Banes, ready to roll in, but the siege tank's in position. No easy ability to flank because of the rocks and the mineral wall there to the north side. But here comes Solar again. The Queen's looking for more. Banelings chew through just a few of the Marines on the front line. Hydras are building up. They do have the range upgrade. The Marine Ball is really coming together here, and the momentum is growing. The siege tank's coming to the wrong side, though. And, oh, what a save! He picks up those tanks, drops them on the other side. Gonna make it almost impossible. And now the Zerglings aren't able to close in. Backs off. Medevac's nearly out of energy. Baneling coming in, big hit. Hydras, Queen's taking the damage. Zerglings wrap around the back, and Solar holds the line for now. The Marine's still trying to find the damage, but he's got to be careful. Another Medevac taken out of the sky, and the supply gap has flipped. Solar now has a 20... Ricky, the accidental swarm host that every Zerg knows and pretends like wasn't an accident, is on the field, which is either a portent of a victory or an indicator of impending defeat. Or it means nothing besides a misclick and you accidentally hit the A key while selecting Larva instead of your army. But I digress. Solar holding onto that base down the center. The Medevacs doing their best. The Locusts are getting involved. Ricky directly helping out. And the healing shrine may be used. Well, here comes the Marines again at the bottom right corner, but there was no vision. Now he guns down 8 drones. Solar brought down to 69 drones, which is nice enough, but considering Clem is about to be taking his 4th base, not exactly ideal. Despite all this, both sides teching up dramatically. We've got 3-3 started. That will give Clem an upgrade advantage in a couple minutes. Hive tech just completed. Lurker Den is done. Triple drop loaded up for the main. Clem keeping the pressure on. Drop to the right. And triple drop back to the main base. He has to retreat with the drones. Again, Solar gonna take the hits. The Hive itself is being targeted, torn apart by the Hive and lost. Oh, he goes for the Lurker Den. And there's no Banelings. He takes out the Lurker Den, thus stalling out that option for quite a while yet. And the Hydras are gonna get chased down, but the triple drop is more than enough. Meanwhile, that medevac drop over to the right flank is taken down, but opens up an opportunity for Solar, or for Clem, to hit the base down the center. Most of the triple drop at the main was able to evacuate and unload again. Solar under pressure across the map. The center base, he's still holding on to 4 bases. Clem actually hasn't taken his 4th yet. Solar's at 185 supply. He's finishing Vipers. Adrenal Glands is finally on the way. And with it, the Zerglings are going to be quite a fearsome force. But unfortunately, Solar has not started his 3-3 upgrades, which means that Clem will have an upgrade advantage. And that means Lurkers and Vipers are going to be required, not just helpful, in order to deal with the Terran army. But here comes Clem, keeping the pressure on yet again. The drops backed off to the left side, but down the center, the siege tanks will thrust through to the heart of the swarm. We're getting some Marauders added in. I don't know if there's a Ghost Academy. It is completed. No Ghosts in production yet. But +2 mech. Another hatchery is taken out. But yet again, Solar will move to defend. No Hydra Lunge. Seems like he's not so interested in that particular upgrade. But more medevacs taken out. But the main brunt of the Terran army has swung around. And the Hydras are caught out. Both sides maxed out despite the losses. More drones. Unfortunately, they didn't get the memo that this base isn't happening, and now they're not going to be getting anything at all. But here come the Lings and Banes. The Vipers revealed at a key time. Blinding Cloud wipes out the siege tanks. They'll be cleared from the field, and the Banelings are chasing the Marines back. The Hydra's going to ping cushion the medevacs out of the sky. Ling's looking for the wraparound. Is there a boost on the medevacs? He gets the pickup, he boosts, and he gets out. But Clem, with a decisive defeat on the field, and now Solar is streaming across the map in towards the third. Hydra Lunge on the way. A withering siege tank volley will drive back the Zerglings at the start. But Solar, again, has taken the hits and survived them. A breather. For the first time in quite a while. Yes, and we can relive it. Thank you, mate. Sorry. Looks like we don't have the battle report set up at the moment. But 8 Lurkers on the way. Lurker range as well. Clem has 4 bases secured, but he isn't building Ghosts. He's tried to keep the pressure on. Ghosts slow down the rest of your production. They're very strong, as we all know. But you can't just... How many barracks? Clem has still 8 racks. It just still looks dramatic. The creep spread is almost non-existent. Zerglings trickling in as Clem goes for a 5th base. And the key part of a map like this is now the expansion pattern is kind of all over the place. It isn't a linear sort of, oh my. Oh! Lurkers eviscerating the Marines to the left side. Cutting down any opportunity for counterattack. Now we got a Nidus on the way. The Lings coming in again. Banelings closing. Lurkers dunking down. And the Hydra's on the back line, but Clem is able to weather the Banelings for now. Siege tanks doing their best. 3-3 is now on the way for Solar. Overseer getting into position, a very conspicuous Nidus, and the Ghost, the first thing they'll do is line up their shots and take down the Overseer. Meanwhile, the Bio Army gonna drive things back down the center. Only one Nidus is probably not gonna be enough to get the job done against a Clem who's clearly paying very close attention. But both sides stabilizing as we get into the late game tech. Solar has lost a few thousand more minerals, but about the same amount of gas. A relatively efficient game considering the unit compositions. The fact that Hydraling Bane is a much more expendable... Ooh, the main base, partially because of Clem's effort, and partially because of the Vipers, is now at 20% HP. Lurkers just sneaking by. A Nidus right outside of Sensor Tower range will be hunted down. Clem finds it. But otherwise... A couple minutes without direct aggression. As we're at the stage where the armies are so dangerous to one another that you have to be clear about your advantage before engaging. Ricky! How is Ricky still alive? Alright, he has a tendency to, well, I always appreciate Zerg players who will keep Ricky alive. The accidental swarm host, but that doesn't mean you can't respect him. In fact, has a kill. Alright. Justified his presence. There's a fusion core. on the way for Clem, though very likely for those. Oh no, the snipes on the Vipers, the most important units in the unit composition. The Ghosts do not have cloak, which means they're not able to get out of this situation. The Hydra's trying to close in, not enough. More siege tanks on the back line. He eats himself forward with the Hydra lunge, and then thinks better of it a moment later. The planetaries are holding, and that was a pretty significant loss for Solar on the field. But underneath the outlying base, the plateau, he uses the Nidus in the speed zones. Ooh, that one's not going to make it, but in order to slice through some of the SCVs. Well, 2 command centers not producing, 2 command centers are... That's a very interesting production tab there, but another attack is coming in, trying to besiege Clem, but the siege tanks are much better at it. Oof. Except that one. That one was a traitor, and that's why Clem shot it completely not accidentally in the metaphorical and mechanical face. Changelings coming in. A roguelite version as opposed to a roguelike. The only 5 overseers thus far. So just throwing him out there. The Lurker. I think he has it on hold fire, or he just can't see it because of the vision blockers. I think it's the second one. The Ghosts do have cloak, but he doesn't use it. Doesn't matter too much. Pops a few more Lurkers. Off to the right side. Ghosts evacuated, but the Zerglings will stream through before the planetary is done. Building armor's on the way. No high-sec auto-tracking yet. But blinding cloud on the planetary. The bait and switch out of Solar working perfectly. He distracted up to the top right, denied the base, and then hit right down the center, and he knocks out that key mining location. And now, Clem, in a bit of a precarious position income-wise, Solar has taken a 3,000 resource per minute lead, which is absolutely redonkulous right now. Concave still very good. Solar at 4,000 minerals and 1,000 gas a minute, and Clem has mined out of his main, and his natural and third are pretty much dried up. That leaves him with just 1 mining base. A Nidus at the back. He needs to establish one of these corner bases, but a Nidus actually blocks the base to the top right corner. And Solar is slowly but surely grabbing even more of the map. Parasitic bomb. Quarantines 1 medevac. Looks for more. Blinding cloud on the back line. Has to turn it around. Solar, though, closing in. He's hitting the objectives. He needs to deny mining bases from Clem without losing a critical mass of his army, because how many times have we seen Clem turn it around and come all the way across the map in a single push with an unbreakable sort of Terran army? But the siege tanks. Another one taken out of the sky. Medevac, that is. Not the siege tanks. It'd be very odd if the siege tanks were in the sky. At least nowadays. They don't fly anymore. The Zerglings. The Adrenalings just ripping apart another tank. Clem desperately needs this base. Another Nidus. He needs to be mining from these center bases. Solar building up a bank. Clem just not able to secure it. He's got Liberators on the way, but Solar has not mixed in too many Lurkers. He's still focused mostly on the Hydraling Bane. A more mobile composition reliant on denying the critical mass of siege tanks and Ghosts. But so far, he's done a great job of it. And if things keep trending this way, Clem is in real trouble. Some Zerglings sneaking out. There were some Burrowedlings, the siege tanks. Blinding Cloud, though, will deny their shots on the Banes and the Hydras, trying to pin them up against the command centers, though this positioning eats away with the Hydras. 10 SCVs dead. It's an orbital command down the center. A couple more Zerglings get into the mineral line. Clem starting to bleed out SCVs as well. 13 down. 60 remain. More orbital commands completing. But Solar, his income, 4,000 minerals a minute. Think of how many Zerglings you can lose with that. Well, I'm sure Solar is as well. He's lost 700 so far. Another round of Lings coming in. Takes out a few Ghosts. Blood scattered throughout the field from both sides. Caduceus Reactor now done for the medevacs. Going to be very important, as clearly Clem wants to prioritize things like Liberators. Well, explicitly Liberators. But another round. Hydras, Lings, and Banes. The siege tank caught out but gets a few extra hits. The Liberators, a Venn diagram of freedom to try to hold the line. The backline, another accidental swarm host in production. But this time, I think a sign of good things to come. Clem down to 150 supply, dropping mules to desperately keep up economically, but he hasn't been able to keep the pressure on across the map. That's a gold base. Solar's been modding from the gold base at the 3 o'clock. A Liberator going to find the drones, but Solar still has 85 with money in the bank. Army supplies are close to even, but the bank certainly is not. And at this rate, the Hydra's lunging through the speed zones. Liberator will be taken out. Did he actually just use Locust? He did. I don't know where the Locust went, but the fact he did, I always... Wait, now, Ricky and Richard. Different. 2 accidental swarm hosts. Maybe that's the key. As Solar comes in for another round. Clem falling back, but he has only so much real estate to fall back to. This base going to be taken out. The medevac's not enough to help hold against the overwhelming Zerg. And Clem kept the pressure on early, but Solar has the momentum on the way back. Clem, he's barely mining at this point, especially in comparison to Solar, who's had a significant advantage for 5 minutes straight. He may have lost 10,000 more resources, but he's mined more than that. An advantage. More Liberators down. More Lings and Banes. The Marines in full retreat. GG! Solar! An overwhelming victory by the end. And Clem, with a severe lack of Gs. 850 Zerglings. 31 siege tanks down. But Solar with a textbook Hydra Ling Bane overwhelming army. 600 APM. What a game. Clem, a little bit late on transition. I think a key part is the lurkers. Not the lurkers winning the game, but the lurkers existing. Having like 5 to 10 lurkers is enough to force the transition into this late game army. And then, if you get them to commit so much to ghosts and siege tanks, then the Hydraling Bang can run it over, especially if they're out of position. And Solar willing to lose bases in order to get more in the long run. And so far, matching Clem on the field. After Hive Tech really kicked in, Clem was no longer able to get any real aggression. So, I don't think there was anything but a couple Liberators. Kind of crazy how dramatically it shifted after that point. Solar was able to keep him busy across the map, which is quite an accomplishment. I think that's the only way, almost the only way to deal with Clem. And his second to none multitasking is keep him so stressed on so many fronts that he can't strike back, because Terran units can be some of the most efficient at multitasking. You can queue up a Liberator in another continent and have it siege up a minute later on their mineral line in a perfect position. Medevac drops, and that's pretty much the extent of it, let's be honest here. Medevacs and Liberators, but still. But the Nidus plus Lurker play, just always tickling at the back of your mind, while also hitting down the front with the Hydraling Bane, almost looked like a strategy game. It's kind of crazy. But we're going into Whispers of Gold. But that's enough about the YouTube comment section. Spawning pool on the way. And interesting how the map played out as well. That long distance. I thought Solar might try the Mutas. Solar's always been a very conventional Zerg player, though. The Hydraling Bane is the staple. He almost crumbled. But those Vipers. Vipers are such an important unit. Vipers are so key. Without Vipers, you just lose. Like, you cannot beat the Terran army reliably without them. It just doesn't work. Like, it's not a thing that happens in the late game. But the Vipers, when used well enough, especially when you reveal them right as the blinding clouds hit. They've committed to a fight. They're going to lose. They just don't know it yet. And that's when the momentum shifted. First queen flirting with the Reaper. This is a message from the hatchery owners. Brenda, not again. Not today. Not to. What do you mean not today? I've had enough. Fine. I'll tell Ricky about that. You tell Rick. All right, you do that. Oh, don't patronize me. Did you say Patreon in the description? Subscribe today? Well, that was certainly a segue you made there. And tell Jimmy to edit that out. Okay. Sorry, I blacked out for a second, and I'm hoping we all did at some point. Otherwise, it'd be a little embarrassing. Unlike the damage that can be dealt with a Reaper and 2 Hellions. As they... Oh, no. Not again. Oh, God. Oh, it's bad. Oh, it's bad. Oh, he has no Zergling. Oh, it's going to be a lot. He's... Just go for the natural! He has no Zerglings on the way. Speed is not done. This actually... Clem got really greedy going for the main, but he's joining up. A few more Zerglings are completing, but still 3 Hellions. Speed is done. Wow, this could have been so much worse. It's already bad. Clem, so greedy. Hmm. 6 drones dead, which is certainly not great for Solar, but he killed 4 Hellions. And the Reaper. So, that means a creep spread can move out at a regular pace. Untouched, really, by the Hellions or the Reaper. Which, if you're gonna dart in and try to kill drones, you want to get at least double the number of Hellions you committed. 4 Hellions, 8 drones. Decent rule. Because you are giving up the opportunity to keep control of the creep spread. As you see there. With 6 Hellions, he goes for those creep tumors. But now, it is quite a hit, having to build Zerglings early and losing those early drones. The one thing Solar won't have, the upgrades. He's not going to have the Evo chambers. He's trying to recover with the drone count, but it's quite a... He's going to be very far behind if he ends up getting upgrades at all. 1-1 has already started for Clem, compared to literally 0 Evo chambers for Solar. So it's looking very much like a huge Roach all-in. A no-upgrade Roach all-in. So we'll see how that works out for him. The Banshee's coming in. 4 more drones. Is that the whole plan? Looking like a late game genius in game 1, but now Solar, it's just roaches. All right, well, we'll see how it works out for him. His drone count 68. He's getting an infestation pit. Now double Evo chamber. Just feels like he's a day late and several $100s short right now. Baneling Nest. Yeah, now Solar filling in the rest of the tech, but I cannot stress how mediocre this composition will be. Even brings a couple... Are there medevacs? Boosting out. And this map doesn't have a lot of space between moving out of your base and showing up at your opponents. So... The double Banshee. I love the creep drop into spore crawler positioning. A nice move there. But the Banshees may be able to thread the needle. Oh my. There is a small gap in anti-air range between the spore crawlers. But not enough for Clem to commit, because if he goes in one way, it's going to be hard to get out that same way. Awkward. The Hellions queued up, but nothing quite in position. The Roach is now moving. Again, the Hellion's going to get shut down before getting critical damage done. $80 drones for Solar. But has he dug too deep and too greedily? We're about to find out. 1-1 is done for Clem. He's got 100 army supplies, siege tanks knocking on the door, as well as the rocks being taken down, opening up a new one. Roaches and Ravagers, Baneling speed not done, +1 not done in any form. And that is a lot of Terran. Zergling counter. He really needs those upgrades and Bane speed. But Solar already down to 3 bases. Banelings may be exhausted the moment before speed finishes. Solar trying to regroup. He's got an Ultra Cavern and Vipers on the way, which is exceedingly optimistic. Target fire 1, 2, 3. Pops the Banes. Kites back. Siege tank fire still lighting up the Roaches. A few transfuses to try to bring them together, but more Roaches getting blasted away from long range. And even though the early Hellions didn't do much damage, it seems the emotional toll they took is quite dramatic. There's no detection as the Queen will die of darkness. And the siege tank's moving up, but Corrosive Biles also... GG. Just straight up, with a vengeance, Clem comes in and just executes Solar. And, well, that ties things up in quite a decisive fashion. Clem took that personally. And that brings us quite quickly to game number 3. Wow. What went wrong there? Solar felt haphazard. You really need, like in game 1, a clear focus. He clearly knew what he wanted. He wanted the Hydraling Bane with their upgrades. He took some damage early, recovered, and focused on his unit composition. Whereas, kind of felt like Solar lost track of what his plan was. But, everyone has a plan until they get Hellions in their natural mineral line. And then things get hot and heavy, and sometimes weird, but that's okay. One. And we're going to Sandworm. This is from the Wardi Weeklies, which through that Patreon you might have heard of. You, the people sponsor. I'm trying to approximately half of Patreon send out and support community tournaments like Wardi Weeklies, TKLs, Monday night, the Korean StarCraft 2 League. Honestly, pretty much anyone who has the ability to send some towards, so it's not a hard rule. But thank you for the support, liking and subscribing. And it's much easier to just send support to people like Wardi who put in all the work of organizing, administrating, and running these tournaments, rather than, you know, do it myself. I do really appreciate it, though. Like, to be honest, getting nerds to show up in the right place at the right time. Well, maybe not Clem, who's online the whole time ready to win, but I do not envy the effort involved. But I very much respect it. So thank you to Wardi and everyone who does so. And hopefully you check him out. Give him an opportunity. Give Wardi a follow on Twitch, on YouTube. Maybe you get an opportunity to watch live, unless you're a degenerate like me, who's effectively a vampire and has the complexion to match. So, game 3. Sandworm. The key point, the sand spires down the center. They may look like doodads now, but they actually do block, like on Neon Violet Square. They do block larger units, like siege tanks, like ultras, like your mother. They're going to have trouble getting through those small gaps, which can create some interesting scenarios, usually favoring Terran because they have units that can exploit a lack of range or the ability to move through easily. But it works both ways and can become quite a point of contention. There's also a gold base, which I kind of sarcastically made a comment that usually when we have gold bases with rocks, that benefits whoever can build a base and then move it elsewhere. To be explicit, I was saying that gold bases with rocks at it benefit Terran more than anyone else, just because they can have their command center kill the rocks and then the command center is already done, whereas Zerg and Protoss have to build on location, which would mean they have to have the units to destroy the rocks. An example of this would be on Amygdala, a map that has a gold base with a set of rocks all like right on location. So that set of rocks actually prevents them from expanding, whereas Terran can plop down a command center there. So this is kind of an interesting balance. This is all one set of rocks down here on the mineral line. You could attack any part of it. It all shares a health pool, and once it's opened up, you could mine easily. But it's kind of a middle ground, quite literally, between blocking the base with rocks outright and blocking the mining, which I think is an interesting idea that we're testing out. Did anyone use the healing? That reminds me, did anyone use the healing shrine in game 1? I don't think so. Which heavily disappointing, or at least it wasn't a big relevant part of things, but got another 3-2-1-1 loaded up out of Clem. The Hellions threatening. This time around, Solar got speed a little bit quicker. You know, after fool me once, and I won't give, well, he did get fooled twice by the Hellions. It was just only one time did it seem to do meaningful damage. Anyway, I won't be fooled again. Hellions get in. Not a single kill. Reaper. What a perfect bounce to actually make the save. Roachhorn is on the way yet again. But I do think the sheer size of the map on Persephone really factored into the decision to go Hydraling Bane. Hydras take a while to build. Lings and Banes benefit more the larger the map because they have the speed to move back and forth and exploit the... Well, since literally every other unit in the game is slower, the more distance they can use, the better, usually. So we're going to be taking that gold base down the center. We've had literally 5 minutes of no rush. Clem got real close to killing a drone. And Solar got real close to killing a Reaper. But otherwise, well, Brenda, this is the danger. Sometimes the pathing a little bit off for players when they don't really realize what's going on in the map. But the Queen's in a bit of an awkward position. Plus, when Carapace is on the way, for Solar, who has some roaches on the field to match exactly this. Couple Zerglings and an Overlord taken out now. Looking to take down those rocks before the hatch finishes. I believe they have slightly less HP than normal rocks, which are around 2,000. Yes. So the debris has 1,500 as opposed to 2,000 for standard rocks. So a little easier to take out than a standard set of rocks. Solar actually a bit supply blocked off losing a scouting OV, but better to lose the OV than a bunch of drones in the main because you didn't see it coming. Snipes off a creep tumor. Infestation pit is already on the way. So Solar is trying a similar style to the previous game, but he does have a much better position to get away with it. He's already got the roaches on the field. He knows what he's dealing with, and he's mining from a gold base. So we should at least see a bit more of a fight here. Though the Baneling nest is only now starting. Infestation pit is done. What is he going to go swarm host? I doubt it. Hive should be beginning momentarily. Dropping Marines on both sides of things, but the roaches move in to defend. Queen will strongly disagree with their presence here, but another drop coming down the center, already just targeting the base. Can start working on the roaches. Double drop. Gets a Ravager. Hatchery, vulnerable. Another drop to the north. Might be able to take out one medevac, but so hard to maneuver around. Clem up and down and all around. The double drop loads up yet again. 6 drones dead. Hatchery either canceled or destroyed. Hold position on the medevac's kind of a weird position to do so. The Queen's almost able to take out one, but Solar, again, taking some hits, but Hive just, well, the Hive is pretty significantly delayed from when the infestation pick completed, so missing a bit of an opportunity. Medevacs load up another set of Marines, and they drop just out of Queen range. 1-1 now done for Clem. Only the Carapace upgrade for Solar, but that gold base is so important. The gold base and the extra income. Gonna try to take out one medevac. Transfuses helping hold the line, but another Queen taken down. A revolutionary tactic from the Frenchman. Banelings, no speed though, so easily splits back. Few Hellbats in the way, and the siege tanks on the other side of the Sandspires. Takes out one with the Ravager. Solar gonna hold the line. And the drop driven away from the main. Queen's doing their best. Siege tank takes the wrong path. And the pathfinding working for Solar here. As Clem struggles to cope. Hive is nearly completed. Clem will see it momentarily. He's got some Marines already in the main. Another hatchery on the way. Clem now going to be taking the gold base himself as he floats that command center over. Hive is done. Ultraless Cavern is the choice. A bold move. We'll see if it works out for him. It's still a long way off. 2 Vipers on the way. Those Vipers a much more immediate response to the siege tanks down the center of the map. Drop in the back of the main. Slowly getting cleaned up, but the Queen may be taken down, and now Clem coming in for another round. This sort of blocker down the center. He needs those Vipers. Solar needs those Vipers yesterday. The drop is coming around again, but Solar still. The Vipers are complete. The gold base is vulnerable, though. 2 siege tanks about to be in position around the corner. And those Banelings, I think he has vision of the tanks, but he's trying to hold. 2-2 is about to complete for Clem, but it's not done yet. This is Solar's best opportunity. Knocks out one of the tanks, but Clem is bearing down and tearing through. 2-2 now done. Banelings trickling in. Fires off some corrosive biles to try to hit something. Drop coming back. He still has 2 Marines. Solar moves in to defend. He needs the Vipers so desperately. I assume they're nearby. There they are. It's time. Parasitic Bomb. And actually, huge double Parabomb. A bit greedy, though, because the siege tanks are still firing. And Clem is coming around again. 3 Ultras in production. But Clem is nearly maxed out, and he's about to take out the gold. Solar just doesn't have the units on the ground right now. Knocks out another medevac with corrosive bile, but look at the supply. Even with chitinous plating, between the siege tanks, the Marauders, and just the sheer number of Marines, the Ultras, Paperlisks right now takes down another, and the bio ball is just rolling across the map. Clem takes the series 2-1. A vengeful set of games after a strong macro performance from Solar. Honestly, I think Solar's success directly tied to the sheer size of the map. He's trying these later game macro styles, and he's jammed in to a cage fight with Clem on Sandworm and Whispers of Gold. Clem able to lay it down and take the victory. Though again, Solar looking like a match for Clem lately. Defeating him the other day in some of the most comprehensive Zerg matches I've seen in a while. Though I heard he faced against Cyril, so we're going to have to take a look at that soon. But a well-fought battle for Clem. Solar, not quite able to cross the finish line this time, but still a strong fight. So hopefully you enjoyed. And if you got the means and motivation, be awesome to check out, as I mentioned, a Patreon or YouTube membership. Thank you to those Mule Tier patrons for bringing in the minerals. Big Jiggy Door, Cape Mario, Suit. Also, I hear liking and subscribing is still free, at least for now. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope I made your day a little bit better. Hope to see you next time. Good luck. Have fun. stay chill.